Are you ready?
A Shot of Wrestling, episode 278. And away we go.
What you get shot, boy? Is that the best that you got? We about to go live. Are you ready to rock? So take a shot. Oh, so take a shot. Oh, yeah. I'm a street breaker. I'm a heartbreaker. This is my dawn. I'm a Ramon Razor. Strip land ain't your boy. About to seek and destroy. It's an SOW. Let me hear you make noise. Take a shot, boy. Is that the best that you got? We about to go live. Are you ready to rock? So take a shot.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of A Shot of Wrestling. I'm your host at Michael J. Putty. This time, not joined by Marcus Schwann. I think he is somewhere licking his wounds. So joining me, the OG, good friend of mine, Green Man. What's going on, buddy? How you been?
Well, if you're ready and willing, Michael J. Putty, I'm Abel, a.k.a. the Green Man. Happy to be here, man. Like, these last 24 hours have been rejuvenating me in the world of professional wrestling. We just came back from our independent show at Outlaw Wrestling over at Queens Brewery, and it was a blast, man.
I thought it was Abel now. I thought you were changing the pronunciation of your name.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
Yes, we did. There's so many wrestlers out there now who change the pronunciation of their name.
Not the spelling, just pronunciation.
No. Brandy Lauren now?
Genius.
Not Brandy Lauren.
Nope.
Who else?
Mustafa?
QT Marshall.
Yeah.
Not QT Marshall, QT Marshall. So I'm Abel the Green Man.
I like it. It could work.
Let's see if we make it stick. We can make it stick.
I will. We'll try our best.
I think, you know what it is? It's a very heelish thing to do when you have to correct someone. You know, someone's like, hey,
True.
Abel, do you mind coming over here? I'm like, hey, it's a bell,
Yep.
Okay? Put some respect on the name, okay? But, yeah, great time.
Now, we mentioned Mark Schwann earlier. Again, he's not here for quote-unquote various reasons. But I was talking to you.
I think he's chicken. Chicken shit.
I posted the two things on my Instagram. See, I changed the name for that for you, too. And like, Mark Schwann has been wrong 4 times in 1 week.
Yeah.
Exhibit A. But all hail Queen Zelina Vega, please.
It's going to be Shayna Baszler.
No, it's not.
It just,
All hail the Queen.
in what world
Zelina
does
Vega.
Zelina Vega have a shot in hell against Shayna Baszler?
0.
0.
Plenty of chances against Doudrop.
Doudrop is not going to win that.
I think she will.
I am willing to put money on this.
So am I.
Okay.
I asked you, let's put $50 against Charlotte Flair going this triple threat. You said, no, I don't have the money. Now you want to bet? Let's bet
I
something.
didn't say I don't have the money. I said I don't want to bet.
Let's bet something right now. Doudrop, Zelina Vega in the finals.
And Zelina Vega wins?
Yes.
All right, $50.
Can we do like 25? I already owe you 60s from the fucking
All right,
debacle that was North Bergen, New Jersey.
25 says that does not happen. So you're saying Doudrop, Zelina Vega in the finals, Zelina Vega wins. I am saying no.
So there you have it, folks. He swore since the brackets were released that Shayna Baszler was going to win this. How could you not see this, Putty? How long have you been watching wrestling? This is made for Shayna Baszler. I don't think so. I actually disagreed with him. God forbid.
Good for you, by the way. Good for you.
I will
for standing your ground.
Thank you. It wasn't since day one. I was kind of torn between Zelina Vega and Carmella, so I waited for their match. And then I figured Zelina Vega and Doudrop in the finals only makes sense. Again, I was met with hesitation, to which we put a bet on it, Abel. I might do that a couple times in the show. We made a bet. And he said, okay. To me, that means it's confirmed.
I mean, the listeners of the show could easily say that you two made a gentleman's bet for $50.
25. I changed it to 25 to be nice.
Did you? No,
Yeah.
$50. I think you should keep it at $50.
So that's twice he was wrong. Then he swore for weeks. Weeks! Charlotte Flair is going to get involved in this triple threat match because it's making sense. To his credit, they're kind of leading us there the way she was involved with the other 3 women. But
oh my God, he even made your co-host Rob Williams on that show kind of be like, oh, that's actually a good idea.
Yeah.
Maybe that, you know what? I want that to happen now. He's convincing people left and right to be wrong.
Again, it was
wrong.
It's made sense on paper, but the fact that Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, both switching shows, both champions, didn't make sense in the context of professional wrestling. So I disagreed with him, and he was like very insulted that I disagreed with him. Again, questioning my wrestling intelligence to the point that
you haven't been watching wrestling for years.
Then here's another clip. So this is where me and Mark differ in opinion here. I'm assuming it's still going to be a triple threat. Becky will probably win. Becky, Charlotte swap belts like they did last year. Mark is convinced Charlotte's going to join this match. It's going to be a fatal four-way. How do you?
I like it. It.
We like it. Yes, it's going to be a good match. We like it. Is it going to happen though? Do you see it happening?
Yes, dude. I just had like
mind blown.
My brain exploded. She's not booked for anything, right?
She's not booked for anything. And here's the thing.
It's
The past couple of weeks, she's inserted herself into the storyline, and now on Raw, we're going to have this tag match.
So what do you do? So what do you do?
Don't do the belt swap. Don't do the belt swap. They've done that enough times. Like even with the
agreed
tag belts, like
they've done it too many times.
Don't do that. Don't do
once.
that.
So was it winner take all?
Like the Profits and
Profits
and New Day did it. Like
once. Again, the only logical outcome of this was that they switch belts. Switch brands, you switch belts. Again,
makes sense.
Method hesitation. So Markish, Scrawn, fourth strike, you are out. Don't ever question my wrestling intelligence again. He was so smug and confident too.
Yes.
How do you not see this? How do you not see this, buddy? How long have you been watching wrestling? I got 2 words for you. It feels so vindicating. Like, yeah, I've been watching wrestling a long time.
Absolutely.
I know what I'm talking about. And if he vindicated like this, I feel so good about myself. I've not felt this good in a long time. And if Marcus Swan wasn't so smug about it, I would be like, oh, well. But he was so smug about it. I'm like, damn right I won, Abel.
Good for you, Mike. Good for you.
Cheers to us.
Take all the wins you can. I think it's cowardly.
They don't come often. They don't come often, so I'm taking one I can.
I think it's cowardly that Mark has decided that this is the show that he's not going to be a part of. Because he doesn't want to confront you.
Mm-hmm.
The man with the black belt is afraid of you.
Oh, you said black belt. Let's do a shot.
You got to drink.
From our live shows.
Yeah. I mean, he is afraid of you. He's chicken shit at this point. I think you know what you should do? You should put a post and tag local media and see if he responds.
Oh, yep. He probably will. He probably checks that every day. Oh, man. I just feel so good, man. I needed a good week, and I had a good week this week. And to top it off, hanging out with my best friend here, watching Crown Jewel. And again, we went to Outlaw. We'll get into both those later. Looking forward to it, man. Welcome to the show. There's always a different energy when you're on the show. It brings us back to the olden days. Remember this how we started the show? Getting drunk. Talking about there was no format to the show. There's no structure. We would take breaks.
It was just a conversation between two friends talking about wrestling, and that's usually that's pretty much how the show would start, right?
Yeah.
But we would start drinking, and
before the show,
we're recording this on Friday at 11ish.
Yeah, both of us long week.
Was really back in the day. If it was really back in the day, it'd be 2:00 in the morning, and we would just be starting the show.
We've done that a couple of times. But we would take breaks like we do here, but we would not stop recording. We would continue recording, play some music, and we would go in my kitchen to do some drinks, go down to the bar to have some drinks. We were doing it in the studio. And we were like, oh, shit, we're still recording. And come back after an 8-minute break of 10 songs being played. I'm like, oh, shit. Some good times.
Those were the days.
But that was then, Abel. The show has come a long way in almost 300 episodes. How about we go see what's trending this week? First up, WWE crowned their new king and queen. Zelina Vega defeated Doudrop to become the inaugural Queen's Crown winner. And not only did they crown their first queen, but a little factoid for you, Mr. Green Man, they did the entire tournament in 10 minutes fewer than the Seth Rollins Edge Hell in a Cell match, by the way.
Oh, really?
So they had, 8 matches, 10 matches? In less time than did one match. It's mind-boggling. But again, Again, the boyhood dream came true. Xavier Woods defeated Finn Balor. There you go. In an excellent match to capture King of the Ring. Woods called this the most important match of his career, which I think we all can agree on. I mean, Woods has held tag team championships many times. I think, 7, 8 times? But he's never held a singles championship. Did the right people win here? And where do you see their reigns going in the next year, maybe year and a half?
Well, let's talk about the Queen's Crown, first of all. A very anticipated a matchup. This is something that the WWE has been talking about. It's been in the rumor mills of happening for at least the last 2, maybe 3 years,
I think longer.
Stemming from the women's evolution. And I told you this when we were watching Crown Jewel. As much respect as I have for the talent that's getting put over, the King of the Ring and the Queen's Crown, it's a gimmick. It's a gimmick, But like you guys discussed in a previous episode, and when you were reviewing how the talent, takes that gimmick and makes it their own, people like Owen Hart, who made it his own. People, who jump-started their career like Stone Cold Steve Austin. Even though this is just a gimmick match, it's not necessarily like a title. You have the opportunity as the talent to take this and say, I'm going to go all the way. So my question to you, Michael J. Putty, is, do you think that Xavier Woods is going to own this new crown and go all the way and make himself even a bigger star than he is? And in the same respect, do you think Zelina Vega would be able to do the same thing and be La Reina?
Yes, to both. We've seen
to both.
Kofi Kingston had a great run with the WWE Championship. We see what Big E's doing. Kingston was a well-established person before New Day. Big E was established. I think I told you while we were watching this, too. It was the New Day was Kofi Kingston and Big E every match with Xavier Woods on the outside.
Right.
Occasionally, he might get sprinkled into the match, but he was just the outside guy.
Mm-hmm.
And to see where he's come from that to being not only winning tag team matches, winning singles matches, but now he's the king of the ring. I think this will help elevate him as a singles competitor. He needs it on his resume because all he has is tag team championships. No singles championships. I think this will help elevate him as a singles competitor. Maybe Kofi could be his hand, and maybe they could work some sort of dynamic there. I don't know how many Kings of the Rings outside King Booker have won championships in their reigns, though.
Right.
But I could definitely see him winning a mid-card title on SmackDown. That's the Intercontinental title.
I love how right after the match, was it right after the match where he was saying, now I'm king. Yeah. Now I call the shots, you camera, you move when I say you move. And I'm like, oh, okay. This is new because since when does the king call like the shots like this? If anything, the Universal Champion, the WWE Champion, they have legitimacy to say, we call the shots. This is our show. This is my time. I can take as much time as I want. This is my ring. But to go and say like now the king is the top tier, and if he wants to put himself there, I think Xavier could definitely do that and say, you know what, you all are in my kingdom, and I am the king that reigns over this kingdom, and I allow you to be Universal Champion and WWE Champion, but just remember this is my kingdom that you're playing in. Let that be your ring, but where is that ring in my kingdom?
It's also been a while. I don't remember offhand the last time we saw one. A face King of the Ring. King of the Ring, and now Queen of the Ring, Queen's Crown, seems to me as a perfect thing for a heel. Which is why I didn't really argue too much with Mark Schwann when he said Shayna Baszler, because she's a heel. It makes sense. But these gimmicks seem more beneficial for heels. So I'm curious. It's been a while since we've seen a face. I cannot remember. I think maybe Edge?
I love how you're bringing that up because, I think, as a king, you're just consumed with the power of the crown. So La Reina is now deserving of the power that she feels like she's warranted from the very beginning, So now she's like, yes, I have the power, and now this crown lets everybody know I have the power. But I love that you say is the first time in a while that we've seen a face do it, because what would it be if a face like Xavier Woods fell into the power and then allowed the power to control him, and he would just become green with enraged because he just doesn't know how to do it. He doesn't know how to control it. It'd be very interesting to see. I kind of like that idea of the baby face turning heel while he's king of the ring because of the power that consumes him.
Especially actually funny you mentioned that, because I was watching the coronation tonight, and I was wondering, could this lead to a feud between Kofi and Xavier Woods? Maybe he does get consumed with it and goes to his head. And Xavier Woods, as his brother, is like, come on, bro, you guys, snap out of it. You know what you got to do here.
Yeah, you got to be humbled, right? You gotta be humbled.
I've been wanting this since I was a boy. You don't tell me what to do. I am the king. This is my kingdom. You are my subject. Like stuff like that. Again, I don't see them breaking up the New Day, but if they were going to, in maybe like 6-8 months' time, this is how you do it.
But I don't even think that they would need to break them up. I think, like you said, like, you're my subject, and, if Kofi becomes my lackey and I'm Xavier, I get used to that. So if Kofi one day steps out of line and says, you need to humble yourself up, my man, and I'm going to do it for you, like, let's step in the ring, like brothers fight. So I could easily see them both have a match where Kofi's trying to smack it out of him, and make him realize that it's more than just the crown, but they don't have to break up.
Maybe they come to blows, and brand to brand invitational. Big E comes over and they have like a powwow in the ring.
Yeah.
There's so many ways they can go with this, and I'm so excited to follow this reign. And going back to the Queen, Zelina Vega, there were a lot of hype with her. Maybe potential championship run before she got released.
Right.
So they re-signed her. I think we all love Zelina Vega, but they're not doing anything with her. And this is my point with, I thought she should win. Now they're giving her something to do. So now I'm so looking forward to the promos of this. This should be helping, with the word love to use, launching pad for her. And I'm excited to follow her reign, see how she embodies it. I'm looking forward to her coronation on Raw. I don't see her going to the title picture anytime soon with this, but it'll definitely help her elevate her status, so to speak, and actually give some credibility to, again, use the word resume.
Yeah. You said both of these individuals are going to be able to take this as a stepping stone and launch their career. I disagree with you. I think Xavier is going to be able to do it. I think he's a lot hungrier. I think his creativeness about being king of the ring, because he's wanted it for so long. Yeah. He did an interview at WWE.com on how much he wanted it, how much, this tournament really means to him. Yeah. And I don't think Zelina Vega is going to be able to do that. I don't think it's lack of her talent or maybe her creativity or, where she could go with it. But I just don't see the women's roster competitive enough for her to be a queen in.
Now, would you say that if anybody had won?
Absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely. I think
it's
that
not against her. It's a statement on the current roster.
This is a gimmick for the women right now. This is a gimmick very similar to the tag team championships, and it's a shame that title belts are a gimmick. But if you treat them as a gimmick, that's what it's going to come off at. Put the Reina, put the Queen in Impact Wrestling. Now I'm like, you could carry the brand on the back of Zelina Vega as the queen in Impact Wrestling.
Oh, okay. I hope you're wrong. I hope this is good things for her, because I don't see how she fucks this up, but it's not her. It's creative and how they do things with her.
Right.
Moving on. PWI released their top 150 list of female wrestlers. Now, the criteria for the list includes in-ring achievements, championships, tournaments, win-loss records, influences, technical ability, quality of competition, and activity. So this year's top 10 are, number 10, Raquel Gonzalez, Tam Nakano from Stardom, Io Shirai from NXT, Siri from Stardom. I've seen multiple spellings of her name. I'm hoping I'm getting it right. Sasha Banks. Top 5 is Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker, Deonna Purrazzo, Utami Hayashishida from Stardom. I think I got that right. Nailed it. Number 1.
Yes.
Bianca Belair. Your thoughts on that top 10?
I mean, I can't argue with the number 1. Bianca Belair has just risen up to every single challenge that has been put in front of her. This is someone who didn't start to become a wrestler, but damn, once she set her mind into it, she literally went straight to the top. She's entertaining. She's a good role model. She's athletic in the ring. Even though she's green, you don't see that in her at all.
No, not
at all. She is so good at what she does, and if she's so good this early on in her career, I could only imagine how much better she's going to be, because she's just keeps learning. She keeps learning. She's like a sponge right now. I love it. Shout out to my girl Thunder Rosa. I definitely think she needs to be in the top 10. Love that she's in the top 5. Yeah. That woman is such a hard worker. Interesting story when we interviewed Thunder Rosa, and it's been a while since we've gotten together, and I've been meaning to bring it up. But if you go back to listen to our interview with Thunder Rosa, she mentioned that she got a WWE contract. This was before AEW was in the mix. So could you have imagined if Thunder Rosa accepted that contract from WWE? There would be no Thunder Rosa and Breaker match in AEW. There'd be no Thunder Rosa and NWA. The career that she's had since she turned the WWE down would have been completely different. And so different because Michael J. Putty, she turned down a contract because the WWE offered her a contract to be a referee.
I have heard that, yes.
Okay? So she knew who she was, what she wanted to be from the get. She didn't say, I'm going to be a referee. And in the interview, she's like, if I did want to be a referee, I would have been the best damn, female referee ever. Representing for the Hispanic community, representing for women, but that's not what she wants to be. And she really thought about it, like this is an opportunity. They're giving me a contract. They're giving me money. This is when she was working in the Indies. Kudos to Thunder Rosa to have the hindsight and say, you know what, I'm going to turn down that contract from WWE. I'm going to pursue my dreams. And, she's fought in MMA. She's done so much ever since she turned them down. So congrats. I'm happy with this list. What do you think? Did they leave someone out?
Going back to Thunder Rosa as a referee, everybody has a role in this world in their life. That's not her position. That's not her role. She was meant to do bigger and better things. It's not an insult to referees. I mean, today you saw Edge post a beautiful tribute to Jessica Carr on his Instagram and Twitter. She's the first female, I think we talked about it on the show, watching the show, she's the first female to referee a show in Saudi Arabia. She's been refereeing the trilogy of Seth Rollins and Edge.
Right.
And she's been making waves for females as the referees. And I don't think Thunder Rosa would have done that because Thunder Rosa is meant to be exceptional female wrestler. Probably just a Kakar real quick for what she's doing as a female referee. Someone I'm surprised is not in the top 10, based on what I just said is their criteria, after the year she's had as holding down the women's division during this pandemic. Hikaru Shida, not in the top 10.
Interesting, yeah. Very true.
Since its debut in 2008, it's the first time Charlotte Flair has not been ranked in the top 10, but she hasn't really been active that much in this past year. She took some time off.
Fair enough.
So
yeah.
I get that. But Hikaru Shida, I think, should have been in the top 10 at least somewhere.
Maybe she could be on the top 10 of your list.
I want to put her in my top 10. I mean, Bayley's always going to be number 1.
Michael J. Putty type list.
Yeah, that's...
If you know what I mean.
That's a different list.
I know who'll be your number 1. You're wearing her shirt right now. Evolution, baby.
Hope she comes back soon. Shooting a movie right now. Hope she comes back soon. Since its inception in 2008, started out with Awesome Kong, the first African-American woman, and now Bianca Belair is the second. Bianca Belair continues a year of 7-8 runs of WWE women, by the way. So WWE seems to be owning this list. But as AEW builds up their women's division, I'm assuming that'll change soon.
I think the fact that you're not seeing as many women from the WWE on the top 10. You mentioned women from Stardom, women from like there were a few names from Stardom. I think that this could possibly, and quote me on this one, Michael J. Putty.
Okay.
I think this might be the last year that the WWE has the number one slot for top women wrestler of the year.
Well, there has been times where they haven't been. In 2011 was Madison Eagles. 2009 was Mickie James. 2012 was Gail Kim. And 2013 was cheerleader Melissa. So it wouldn't be out of the ordinary to have a non-WWE woman in the top spot.
No, this is going to turn into the streak that they don't want.
But going into
years down the line, we're going to be saying, when was the last time that a WWE female was number one? And you'll say, wow, yeah, in 2021, Bianca Belair.
I wouldn't go that far. But
that is what's trending, though.
Finally, moving on, there's been a war of words between Tony Khan and Eric Bischoff. This week, both Tony Khan and Eric Bischoff started a war of words on social medias, on the podcast, on 83 Weeks. Eric Bischoff had some critical things to say about Tony Khan and AEW, saying he should just shut up and wrestle. Let's hear what he has to say.
If Tony were to call me and ask for any advice, here's what it would be. Shut up and wrestle, dude. Just put out the best product you can, and you've proven you can. Focus on that. Now, this is weird coming from me, right? The guy who challenged Vince McMahon, the guy who did gave away their finishes, right? So people are listening to this and going, yeah, but that's him.
The young Tony.
What the hell?
Yeah.
But here's the difference. I was actually competing with him. I was going head-to-head, real head-to-head. Like, my show started at the same time his show started each and every week. And another thing, Tony came out and says, oh, we're at the 1996 stage of WCW, and we're just going to not make their mistakes. Tony, you're inventing some mistakes, brother. By coming out there and constantly comparing yourself or deriding your competition, but not having the willingness, I almost said balls, not having the willingness to say, okay, let's go head-to-head. Let's really compete. Let's see who can get whose market share. That's real competition. So I'm a little disappointed in the rhetoric that I'm hearing out of Tony, as well as some of their talent, man. Shut the fuck up. Until you're actually competing and you're actually competing favorably. And by the way, Tony, in 1996, I was kicking WWE's ass every week in a real head-to-head competition, not a cosplay competition.
Hard to argue what he's saying here. Hard to argue with that. He makes some good points.
I think he's full of shit.
What?
That's what I think.
I thought Mark Schwartz not here tonight. What's going on here?
Let's talk about let's dissect this little clip here because he's talking about competition and how he went head to head. I think the definition of going head to head with someone is completely different in the day of cable television and the day of social media today. Today, wrestling shows are hashtagging. They want to be the number one trending show. They want to have the most interactions on social media. That's the year of 2021. Okay? So back in the day, his head-to-head meant that they had the same time slot on cable TV.
Yep.
On cable TV, Michael J. Putty, because it would have been a different conversation if they were like, oh, well, I'm on network TV and you're on cable TV, because then you can't, it's like comparing apples and oranges. And that's exactly what Eric Bischoff is doing right now. He's comparing competition in the 90s to competition today. It's apples and oranges. They're both head to head. So I discredit the way that he's talking about Tony Khan, telling him that he's not ready to go head-to-head competition. I think he's ready. He's been going head-to-head competition with the WWE. And this is something that upsets me when I hear people talk about WWE saying that AEW is not competition. You've heard people say like, oh, well, we're the WWE. We don't really think of that show as competition, you know?
Yeah, many conversations on the show. Yes.
It upsets me so much because the WWE, the World Wrestling Entertainment Company, puts everything under their umbrella as competition. They want to compete with everybody because they are an entertainment company. They want to compete against wrestling shows. They want to compete against football, baseball, ice skating, like whatever entertainment is out there, Disney, movies, whatever. They want to compete with it. It's not just about wrestling. So AEW falls under that competition. So to say that they're not competition, it's bullshit, man.
I understand what he's saying here. They're not going head. I see your point with the whole social media, blah, 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 2021 stuff. But they're not going head to head. They grabbed them by the balls and said, I'm going to put Nitro against the flagship Monday Night Raw and legitimately start a war, go head to head. Like, like XFL is not competing with the NFL. Their seasons are different. Their XFL starts when, again, in 2023 now, what NFL is done. They're not competing with the NFL because they know they'll get their ass handed to them by the NFL. Their ratings were close. WWE won the rating war Friday night. AEW won the most critical demo, 18-39. So if AEW went head to head with WWE, like on Friday night against SmackDown, the ratings would not have been as close as they were if SmackDown was on Fox. Again, going to your point about cable and network, because they were on Fox Sports 1. Again, it's a C-list network.
Bro, no.
So do you think AEW is ready to go to war and head-to-head compete with them against each other? Because they're doing well on their own. But if they were to go head-to-head against Raw, because look what happened with Impact. Impact's nowhere near the level AEW is. But Impact got their ass handed to them going against Raw.
Bro, it's a different time.
Impact did it like 8 years ago.
Yeah, but listen, back in the day, when someone went head-to-head with someone, you didn't have the options that you have today. So you had the option, you would be a WWE loyalist and watch Raw, or you would be a WCW loyalist and watch Nitro, or you would be caught in between those two and go back and forth. Those were your options, and that's why you got such an influx in viewership, and those numbers were different, and those are numbers that you'll never see again. Now, today, in the way with DVRs and in the way of social media where you don't have to see the show, you could just follow people who watch it on Twitter, on everything, and see the posts. Like, it's not the same. You could put them head to head, it would not be the same.
But before we go on any further, we have Tony Khan's response to this.
Oh, yeah.
He responded
criticizing
how Bischoff handled the young talent in WCW. Let's hear what he say.
For you, did you even think about that? Like, oh, should I be quiet at certain times? Or are you just, hey, I'm Tony Khan, I'm proud to be the owner of AEW, and I'm going to be vocal?
Well, I really like Eric, and I was kind of surprised by Eric's comments because they were coming from Eric Bischoff. And I think Eric Bischoff is probably the last person anybody would expect to say that they think the president of a wrestling company should be quiet. But then when it comes to head-to-head competition, like you said, Dave, we were in a head-to-head competition this past week. It was only 30 minutes, and I didn't ask for it. You know, we were in our time slot, and somebody came into our time slot aggressively. And we generally responded pretty well and been very successful. And I was amused by Eric's comments. I like Eric when we're together, but this is the ultimate example, I think, of glass houses in some ways, knowing how Eric conducted himself when he was the president of WCW. And really, he did ask for the head-to-head competition, and I think he said publicly, I should be going for that. But I don't decide when the shows are on. This time slot, we had looked at a couple of different slots, and this was one that they thought would do well, and I was pretty supportive of. I was surprised that the competition was going to be commercial-free, but I thought it was even more impressive given that I was forced to take a couple breaks. And since the numbers came in Monday, I haven't said much because I think those numbers speak for themselves. I'm just really proud that we won that head-to-head. We didn't make the choice to go head-to-head for 30 minutes against the competition, especially when they decided to do 30 minutes commercial-free, and they lost. But for Eric Bischoff, of all people, the guy who got lowered down on a motorcycle from the ceiling, the guy who challenged Vince McMahon to fight him, to say that somebody should be quiet, it's laughable. And Eric is doing an act, and I respect it. But let's be serious. Eric used to be a wrestling company executive, and now he is a commentator. And as a commentator, he's trying to stir up controversy. But I think it would be pretty naive of anybody to look at this and not examine that the person talking is Eric Bischoff, who is the most outspoken wrestling executive of all time.
So, yeah, that's Tony Khan's 2 cents. Again, he made some good points, too.
I think he gave a pussy response, bro.
Okay, what's the next answer from you?
Someone goes at your jugular like Eric Bischoff, telling him to just worry about your show, grow some balls. You don't have a pair. And Tony Khan, very professional. Me and Eric we're friends. I actually
on the show. We're together.
Yeah. Well, so very respectfully said, I am surprised by his words, but the only jab that I kind of feel like he took was people will listen to Eric Bischoff because he was at one time a powerful executive, but now he's just a commentator. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe he's just a commentator. So he's looking to get people riled up with what he's saying, and I get that. But they do just went at you, and I felt like the response that he gave Eric was pussy, for lack of better words.
This is a family show. Watch your mouth. Watch your fucking mouth. Now, something me and Mark have talked about in the last several months is especially the last couple of weeks, the jabs, the barbs, the blows between the shots between each promotion. Get your opinion quickly before we move on to TV Takedown. Do you think this helps or hurts the business with the cheap, unnecessary shots Tony Khan and AEW is taking against the E? That's why I kind of agree with Eric Bischoff. Just focus on your own product. Don't worry what they're doing. Focus on what you're doing. Because you guys are not doing bad. You guys are killing it. Stay the course. Focus on yourself. And just forget about these guys.
You're getting worked into the work, bro. You're getting worked. That's all it is. Every time they're doing jabs, every time they're saying things that puts the other product down or calls the other talent down, it's a work. It's trying to get you to say, ooh, did you hear what they said? Did you see what they did? Oh, I know who he was referencing. Going all the way back from the beginning when the company started. And you saw Cody Rhodes taking the big sledgehammer to the king's throne. It's what we as fans want to see. This whole war between the companies, it's all stemmed from the fans. And Tony Khan, AEW, are feeding into it and working that angle. That's it.
Great man with the last word here. Let's go on to some TV Takedown.
It's time for this week's TV Takedown.
All right, Abel. Thursday, I announced last week I took off. Turns out you were off. So either way, we were watching the show together.
It was great.
Came over to my house to watch Crown Jewel, that stacked card. This is what I want to see in the future. Ignore your October pay-per-views. Just focus on this because they delivered. And it started out with a bang. It started out with the reason I did took off. Edge versus Seth Rollins in the Hell in a Cell. If that match does not get 5 stars, I don't know what match will.
What a match. What a match, man.
Everything was great about this.
I love it. I love it when pay-per-views, independent shows, any show whatsoever starts their show with a banger like this one. Because that's exactly what it was. Holy crap, these two went head-to-head. Edge has... I can't believe how great he looks. And the dude, like, match by match, his agility and his strength is... I feel like it's growing. Like, he's not human.
9 years he was off. 9 years he was retired. And he's only been back for less than 2.
He's an inspiration, man. He's an inspiration to us all. And Seth Rollins, man. Seth Rollins does not get the credit. You know, I understand that he's had his moments where maybe he wasn't, I wouldn't say he was the safest, but like just shit happens, right? You know? And he gets a lot of shit for that. But the dude could go. The dude could tell a story in a ring. The dude is a good adversary for anybody. And that's one of the things why Seth Rollins is in a position that he's in, man. Because when you look at talented wrestlers, you have to be able to go with people like Edge, who are veterans and icons in this business, and make them shine. But then you could also go with champions or people in the mid card, or people who are just starting to make them, like Seth Rollins and Austin Theory would be an amazing match because of the ability of Seth Rollins. Not to discredit Austin Theory, but I'm just saying that's how good Seth Rollins is.
This match had a lot of cool spots. Seth Rollins was perched on the top turnbuckle with his back towards the ring. Edge pushed him off, which sent Seth crashing into hell in the cell, only to fall onto a table. Yeah, the curb stomp on the chair. There's a lot of near falls, tremendous spots. Edge had the match won via submission, but he wanted to cause more pain. Everything about this match was awesome, which is not a surprise because the first two matches were like epic. So you add in Crown Jewel, you add in Hell in a Cell, and this is something I appreciated. This is one of the best rivalries of the year. And it was blown off in Hell in a Cell, which is what Hell in a Cell should be. The last couple of years, especially with its own pay-per-view, you see a lot of rivalries start in Hell in a Cell. Maybe the second match is in Hell in a Cell. No. This is what Hell in a Cell is about, blowing off an epic rivalry, and these two men delivered. And it's probably one of the best Hell in a Cell matches I've seen in quite some time, if not ever.
Edge is a storyteller. I know Mark has talked about this, especially going back to his WrestleMania match, on how his facial expressions, his attention to detail. There was that moment, Mike, remember I was saying like how great he is when like just the slightest like glance when he took the table out from underneath the ring.
Talk about that.
And then he knew that where the camera was, and he made sure that there was a glance that the audience could connect his glance to that ladder that was right next to the table. Table goes up into the ring, and then he lifts up the apron and then says, yeah, let me bring out this ladder. Because why? Because that's who I am. That's who Edge is. He's made a career of using these ladders, winning matches. He's made these type of matches iconic. It would have been like Devon Dudley saying, like, pulling out a ladder and then saying, like, oh, no, there's that table. Let me get that table. Forget this ladder. I want the table.
Yep. It was well done. You'll be hearing a lot more about that match in 2 months' time. Spoiler alert. But moving on to the Triple Threat Women's match, another hyped possible main event contender here. It was a good match. All three women showed what they can do. I don't think there was a finisher that wasn't hit here. I think one of the favorite spots in that match, I think we both stopped in our middle conversation and our jaws just dropped, was when Bianca Belair held up Sasha Banks with one arm.
That woman is incredibly strong. The more the women really work to showcase Bianca's strength, because that was a creative way to show it.
Yeah.
And, and I don't know if it was something that may have been discussed beforehand, but it came off really well.
Goldberg, Bobby Lashley match was pretty good. The spear off the ramp, I thought that was a long way down. So props to both men for that match. Impressive for a match for a Goldberg match. I thought he's either quick or it's not that good.
Right.
This was long and it was pretty good. So props to Goldberg here and Bobby Lashley for carrying him.
And he had to redeem himself because he doesn't have a good showing out at the Kingdom, Yeah. So for him to, I'm sure he put a lot of pressure on himself going out there for that match.
And the main event, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. I mean, we don't see Lesnar as a babyface that often, and I don't remember the last time we did see him, but he pulled it off pretty well here, and tonight as well. A lot of big moves throughout. Props to both men here. It's still weird seeing him as a face, but it was really well done.
It's the reason it's so well done, Michael J. Putty, is because it happened so organically,
Yeah, true.
Like he came back and like the fans just knew, like, hey, now we could cheer for Brock Lesnar. It was awesome. And I think Michael J. Putty, the crowd here, best that I've ever seen it. And we talked about when we were watching the show on how far the show in Saudi Arabia has come from the first one where there were just like couches and people who were royalty or higher ups were just on the floor level, but the real fans were all the way up top. Now it really feels like everybody's coming together. There's more women's matches. There's women referees. So the progression that this event has made, I know a lot of people want to talk shit about it, and I would have been one of them, be like, it's just they're doing it all for the money, and, you know, it's bullshit that they're getting all these crazy cards over there. But looking at it now on how much it has progressed, it's kind of cool. I kind of feel like, you know, maybe 10 years down the line, like, things maybe will be a lot more different.
They keep mentioning how many days Roman Reigns has been champion, and they also keep mentioning how long Brock Lesnar has been champion, the longest reigning Universal Champion in history.
Mm-hmm.
Did the math. Mark your calendars. January 19th, Roman Reigns will pass Brock Lesnar as the longest Universal Champion.
Wow.
That means if Roman Reigns is champion going to Royal Rumble, he'll be the longest reigning Universal Champion in history. Props to him. This Crown Jewel probably was the best Saudi Arabia show they have done the last several years. Not saying much because this card was stacked. I hope they continue going this route.
Agreed.
Moving on to TV. Now, this is the part we talk about what we liked about TV this week, and we're looking forward to the upcoming week. Our boy Joe Gacy cut a very interesting pre-tape promo, looking directly into the camera, talking about us. The mission remains the same. They don't need violence. Following on his character he's done in the last couple weeks. Then he put his hand against the screen and told us to take his hand. But a hand came out and touched Joe Gacy's hand, and that was the hand of Harland. And Joe Gacy said, "Follow me, little snowflake." When Harland first saw him, when we saw Harland first in the ring, in the crowd, Harland's a big guy. They're comparing him to the next Brock Lesnar. They're very high in this guy. But I thought he would be feuding with Joe Gacy. But to me, it seems like now what they're doing with Rhino and Eric Young and Impact, like they're the mentor, brainwashing. You do what I say, I'm going to mold you.
Right.
He remains a very interesting character. I'm looking forward to what happens now next week, and the following weeks with Joe Gacy kind of mentoring Harland here.
Yeah. Joe's in a very blessed position right now. And it's a tribute to his character, his hard work. You know, we know him personally. We've hung out with him. And, you know, I think people are pretty big on Joe and are confident that he could take what he's given and make something great out of it. And they're giving him this opportunity. Because who would have thought someone who was coming in from the independent scene, got signed to NXT, not only would have such a diverse, like, character with so many layers, but then also, like you said, now it looks like he's going to be guiding a person, maybe a flock of people down the line.
Maybe.
Like, that says a lot. That's like, you're putting not just trust in that this person could carry this character and bring it to life, but now he's in charge of ensuring that his character work is over, but he also is responsible for other people. It's amazing. Congrats to Joe. Keep doing your thing, bro.
Going on to the next thing with NXT, staying on NXT, they released a video hyping out the championship match between Manny Rose and Raquel Gonzalez.
Right.
Again, NXT is, although they're a new brand, new thing, they are still killing it on their video packages. It was a great video. It really showed the differences between both women. Manny Rose looked amazing, stunningly visually as possible. But then you had Raquel Gonzalez putting the work into the gym and showing what a champion should be. At the end, Manny Rose, she made a good point by saying how she's been called a lot of things, but never champion. This is hyping me up for this match.
I love the line. And that was that other great line, Michael J. Putty. And I think the great thing about a promo is when it has a little bit of truth to it. Yeah. And, you know, when Mandy in that promo said, you know, how could someone who looks like this with such smugness and confidence, and she ain't lying, how could someone who looks like this not be given that opportunity yet or be given that strap by now? Because, I mean, it's professional wrestling. Looks have a lot to do with it. Yep. So, yeah, how does someone who looks so good, like Mandy does, not been given the strap by now? It's because she would be the hottest champion ever.
Oh, facts.
She's beautiful as a brunette, by the way.
I told you about a couple weeks ago. She's so much hotter.
Oh my god!
And I love blonde.
Absolutely.
As a brunette, oh my god!
And when she does the wet hair,
oh yeah, even better.
Like, what is going on?
So Raquel Gonzalez is, you know, I'm a big fan of. So I'm a big fan of Manny Rose too.
Mm-hmm.
So this match is going to have me conflicted and torn. But I can kind of see Manny winning here, going on, and Raquel going on to the Royal Rumble maybe in a couple months, and then Raw and SmackDown from here. Because I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, I was surprised she wasn't drafted. But yeah, man, this is something they've set up Halloween Havoc perfectly, and that's a show I am looking forward to. I cannot wait for Halloween Havoc. Moving on to Impact, the rivalry between Josh Alexander and Christian has been so well built. Week in and week out, they've been slowly building it up. And this week, they aired a spotlight video on his career, which was an amazing video package. This was the missing piece on his career, because we don't know too much about Josh Alexander as a person.
Right.
We talked about his neck injury. We talked about his past and how he kind of just wanted to create Canadian indie wrestling as the place to be. Many aspects of his life. It made him likable, made him very inspirational. It meant how much important the X Division is. The end of the night, you had Christian Cage, Josh Alexander, that go-home verbal exchange. Very strong finish following their summit the week prior. Between this and the Deonna Purrazzo, Mickie James match alone, Bound for Glory is something I cannot wait for. You're not too up on Impact, but have you been following the storyline at all?
One of the things that I do like you mentioned about Impact, is that they're definitely building stories like this. They're taking someone who was a tag team specialist, and they're bridging similarities. I love how they bridge the similarities between Christian being a tag team specialist and coming many years ago into this roster and wanting to make a name for himself. And in a way saying like, hey, bro, I'm just like you. And just like you became champion. But now the shoe is on the other foot, because now I'm going to be champion, and I'm going to be taking it from you. How is Impact? Product is so good. How are they not in larger venues? Yeah. You know, like I see them performing in this like small crowd, like even like get a venue that like an NXT venue, because what is there, like 100 people there? Like get at least 300-400 people in a larger room. Like I think Impact would take off so much more. But I think this is why Bound for Glory, it's a sold out event in Las Vegas, man.
Yeah.
That's the hot ticket right now, and pay-per-view buys are going to be crazy, because it's going to be a great show.
When you're here watching Crown Jewel, when Crown Jewel ended, I was like, oh, shit, wait, that's right. Bound for Glory is this Saturday. I bought it. I'm going to watch it. I have planned Saturday evening, afternoon, so I'll be hoping time to watch it. But it sucks is we're recording the show Friday night, so post Sunday night. In between is Bound for Glory, the biggest show of Impact's year. SmackDown tonight had a lot of good stuff happening, but Hit Row made their debut. Hit Row's a big group in NXT. I was a fan of. Many people were a fan of, obviously, because they got called up within months of debuting.
Yeah.
They were a heel group in NXT, but now the word is they're going to change things up a bit. Top Dollar, again, I hate saying that name, will be the leader of the group. He'll be pushed as a single star. We had Adrian Adonis and Isaiah Swerve Scott will be the tag team, which is changing things up from NXT. So I'm curious how that progresses. We'll find out in the next couple weeks in SmackDown.
By the way, I love that the coronation of Xavier actually happened, because it was a little bit upsetting watching Crown Jewel and seeing this new king and queen going up to this pedestal and putting the cape on by themselves. I'm like, well, back in the day, you had Gene Okerlund, right?
Yep.
Didn't Gene put the robe on the new king? So I was a little bit upset. So I'm glad they fixed that up.
You made a good point, too, because he had to do it themselves. And I think the last couple of years, they had to do it themselves. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What if Stone Cold had to do it himself? He wouldn't have cut that promo. There would be nobody there interviewing him. He would not have cut the Austin 316 promo. You're right. Someone should be there interviewing them live.
Not just interviewing, but the fact that it's a king, like the gimmick is the king. He has subjects. He has people doing things for them.
Anyway, moving on that note, Green Man, let's get in some go-home thoughts. You came over to my house to watch Crown Jewel. I had a feeling this was going to happen, and it happened. You convinced me to go to Queens Brewery to watch Outlaw Wrestling. Your first indie show in, almost a year and a half, 2 years?
Pretty much, yeah. Yours too, right?
I don't remember the last one I've been to. Yeah, I missed the BCW show in Atlantic City.
Mm-hmm.
And other than that, that's the last one I had a chance to gone to. How did it feel going back to indie wrestling, my friend?
Dude, Outlaw is becoming a new home to me. It's always a party. It's always standing room only. There's always just so many people there. But everybody, I mean, you saw it. Once you walked in, everybody is mad friendly, happy to be there and ready to have a great time, It was at the Queens Brewery, which is old stopping grounds, because I lived in that neighborhood for a few years, and it was great. What did you think of your first Outlaw show?
It was interesting. It was well done. We walked in, sat by the bar. I mean, the bar seats sucked. It was just blocks of wood he sat on, so it wasn't really a comfortable place to watch wrestling at. But I'm surprised whoever walked into this place and went, "This is where wrestling should be." It's not that big of a space.
Uh-huh.
And I think it was you who mentioned it was a last-minute change because they were supposed to be in Brooklyn.
Absolutely, yeah. They were supposed to be in Brooklyn and Williamsburg at Mount Carmel. But unfortunately, the diocese said that we can't have they're not doing any large gatherings, large events. So Queens Brewery, opened their doors for Outlaw to come in.
Which shows you, I mean, as someone who's never been to an Outlaw show, as you're a loyal Outlaw viewer. But it just impressed me because then we walked in that place, watched the pre-show, maybe the first match, then I turned around. That place was packed. For a last-minute change, for that show to be standing room only, it shows the power that Outlaw Wrestling has and their fan base has. Very impressive.
And kudos to Patrick from the Boulevard Bullies who kept that show together. He definitely was throwing a lot of curve balls along the way.
I talked to him when I was getting something to eat during, quote-unquote, the 2-second intermission.
Yeah.
He killed it, man. I talked to him after the show, too. What a great job he did, not only as an announcer, but like you said, getting those curveballs, having to swerve and on the spot change and kill time or cut time. He did a great job, and no wonder he's the announcer there because he's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, he did a great job.
The whole show was great too, man. The whole show was phenomenal. It was really impressive. Great job to everybody over at Outlaw Wrestling.
There's always surprises. You never know who's going to show up at Outlaw Wrestling.
Like me.
There's always a surprise. And, we started off the night with what I thought was going to be what the surprise was. Just Incredible, who I have not seen in years. Looks like he ate Just Incredible. But
yeah, this guy walks in hobbling. I'm like, this guy looks familiar. And he walked by, I'm like, he's wearing a Just Incredible shirt. That can't be Just Incredible.
He's marking on himself.
But then is that Just Incredible? And then boom, that was a surprise. I'm like, that was Just Incredible.
Yeah. It was nice to see him. He's in good spirits. He looks good.
Thank God, yeah.
A
couple of years ago, he's gone through some rough stuff. So I'm happy
he's gone. Yeah.
He seems happy, healthy.
Sorry,
Miss Matt Stryker.
Right. But he got inserted in that tournament. And I'm thinking that was the surprise, just to know that a few matches later, Enzo Amore was going to crash the party. That was the big shocker.
How you doing? And again,
how you doing?
Spoiler alert, you hear it in the next couple of minutes, but I guess no one told him it was changed from Brooklyn to Queens because he kept all these Brooklyn promos.
Yeah.
So I guess this great heel promo, this great face promo turned into a heel promo because he was shitting on the borough that he was in.
Yeah.
Bad luck. But I was surprised to see Enzo. I was expecting him, so that's cool.
And Enzo and Medium Cast.
Yeah, that was
Casanova
funny.
Valentine, Medium Cast. But yeah, this was night one of the tournament. So let me catch you up on who moved on.
Yes, please.
Homicide moved on to the tournament. He'll be facing Mike Verna. Mike Verna turned heel. Mr. Pretty Boy, Superman character guy. He's always been such a nice guy.
That was great. I loved it.
Why is he aligning himself with Prince Nana?
Why wouldn't you? I'm willing to sign the contract right now for Prince Nana.
I mean, that's going to make an interesting match because Homicide is great, but you got Verna and Prince Nana now. Like, with Prince Nana on the outside, I mean, Mike Verna has to move on. Mercedes Martinez also got an advance in her tournament spot. She's going to be going against Tina San Antonio from the administration. O'Shea Edwards, dude, had a great match.
That's your boy.
He did great, dude. I enjoyed seeing me some O'Shea Edwards. He's going against my boy.
I never heard him before, and he just won me over. Like, this guy was awesome.
Yeah, he's going to be going against Big Action. You know the Big Action. I think that's my I'm trying to give you the Big Action impersonation of the Big Action.
He's not working.
I don't think I'm doing a great job, but no. Encore Moore is moving on. Very up-and-coming star. He'll be facing Rich Swann. As Rich Swann moved on, sadly enough, and I say this sadly enough because Rich Swann won his match against Jaden Vallow. And Jaden Vallow, very impressive match.
Very impressive. I did not know who this guy was. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a squash match. But no, it was a competitive match. And this young kid was like, wow, amazing. Good job.
I got a chance to talk to Jaden. We exchanged contacts. I believe you'll be hearing from him very soon on A Shot of Wrestling. So stay tuned within the next couple of weeks for an interview with Jaden Vallow.
Can't wait.
Amazing match with him and Rich Swann. But Rich Swann will be going one-on-one against Encore Moore. This will be going down November 18th back at the Queen's Brewery, and that will be when Outlaw will be crowning their inaugural champion.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
Can't believe how long they've been in business. This is their first champion, and it's cool because it's intergender. So who will come out on top as the face of Outlaw Wrestling? It's props to them for including the women on this. Is well done.
I would love to see. I mean, each match. I don't even know who I would like to see. I mean, part of me also kind of wants Mike Verna and Prince Nana to go all the way because that just makes it very interesting, and it's going to make it very difficult for everybody on the roster.
Something I've never been shy of admitting is I'm not a big indie wrestling guy.
Right.
What got me into indie wrestling was the Elks Lodge. Sit down, you watch the show, or us set up a table, record, and follow a show. But when the show's done, you pack things up, you go to the bar and drink.
Yeah.
Drinking brings people together. And that's what happened here. And once everything was done, the ring was done, there were still wrestlers and performers at the bar drinking and having a good time. This guy tapped me on the shoulder and started asking me my height question, did I play basketball? And I turned around, it was Prince Nana. So this guy...
Is he trying to recruit you?
This guy and I are having a conversation, like a casual, like I would have with any random Joe. But then I realized, this is fucking Prince Nana. Is he trying to recruit me? Because I was signed right now.
Oh, man.
So when they come back to Queen's Brewery, go check them out. Because not only you see a good show, you have a good time afterwards, hanging out with these guys, getting to them more personally. Like you did with Cassano Valentine you guys hung out with.
Well, that's how you said earlier, drinking brings everybody together. Yeah. That's why wrestling brings everybody together. You know, it's those moments. It's those moments where everybody's like, you know, we're all in this together. Fans, workers, you know, from the ring crew to the announcers, like we're all part of creating the magic that comes into an independent wrestling show. But like you said, November 18th, Outlaw returns to crown their first champion at the Queen's Brewery. November 4th, if you're out in Long Island, they'll be having a show there at the Great Bayshore Brewery out in Bayshore. So come check that out. That's next week, November 4th. It's headlined by Homicide, Rich Swann, and Aiden English. Oh, so come check it out.
Is this part of the tournament or just a separate show in general?
This is just a separate show.
Wow. Okay, cool. And of course, for me personally, the highlight of my night, my first Outlaw show, was standing by the bar, drinking my drink, hanging out with you. But who do I see walking by me? My good personal friend, part of the greatest two-man faction in history. Picasso comes by. I haven't seen him in forever. Good just to hang out with him, catch up. So you never know who you're going to run into in indie shows. So definitely check out your local indie show. And more importantly, Outlaw Wrestling coming up. Green Man, it's been a pleasure. I'm not going to let you off that easily because...
What? It's the end of the show. I love you, man.
There's been...
I miss you already.
We were the official podcast of BCW, so we would go to BCW shows...
Right.
And record commentary during the match, post-game shows, pre-game shows.
Yeah.
I don't remember last time we did that.
It's been a while.
It's been a year, over 2 years.
Right.
So you decided, let's try this again. So you brought your mobile studio, which I was very impressed by. Like, I never saw that before. It looked like one of those things from the Ghostbusters or the Ghost Hunters that records the audio of ghosts. So me and you decided to bring your mobile studio to Outlaw Wrestling. A lot of the guys appreciated that because what Pat from the Boulevard Bullies told me was like, all right, where was the secondary cam? Because I saw a hard cam on the bar. That wasn't hard cam. That was us recording our live Instagram
phone.
feeds. Yeah. Which is surprising. I'm surprised Outlaw does not have recording yet. So when I played these clips back, it was a lot of, how do I put this nicely, Green Man? Drunking ramblings on?
I thought you were going to say professionalism at its finest.
No, not at all. So instead of wasting your guys' time listening to this drunken, rambling mess, if you want to hear it, I will post it at the end of the show. So when we're done here, as usual, I'll play our outro song. At the end of the outro song, you'll hear 14 minutes of loud, drunk, unstructured...
Some cameos from people.
Yeah, ramblings on.
Mittens is on there.
We got Ball Steve from the Bullies. We got Rich.
Bro, it's like the hidden track on a CD.
Track,
remember
yes.
Back in the day, the bonus track.
We're not going to post it now because when we come back from it, how do we explain what just fucking happened? So that's it. Yeah, we're done here. At the end of our outro song, you'll hear 14 minutes of unedited, raw footage of us being drunk at Outlaw Wrestling at Queens Brewery.
I love it. That's what it's all about.
But Green Man, thanks for coming here. Mark Schwann is quote-unquote busy, a.k.a. Yellow, for confronting me on how his 4 losses this week. Again, thanks for filling in. It was like old times, buddy. I love you, and thanks for being here.
Well, like you guys usually say, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on all forms of social media at Shot of Wrestling on Instagram and Facebook. And you could also email us at inbox@shotofwrestling.com or dial it up. Do we still have the phone line?
No, I canceled that.
All right, it's about time. So you can dial it up, but you could slide into our DMs
You
and
can
we'll
dial it
usually
up
respond.
and see who picks up, but it won't be us.
But yeah, follow us, give us a like, give us a review, let us know how we're doing and how horrible we are. I mean, how great we are. And it's been a blast, brother, like old times.
So for Green Man, for the four-time loser this week, Marcus Schwann, I have been your host at Michael J. Putty. I am not here next week. I have personal stuff with Greenman and some friends. So Mark Schwann hopefully will be here. And whatever he says is probably really a lie because he has a week to think of something. But Mark Schwann is a 4-time loser. Mark Schwann, I love you, buddy. Until next week, Putty out.
Hey, baby, I hear the bell ringing, hip tosses and body slams. Oh, my. And maybe you seem a bit confused. Yeah, baby, but I got you pinned. Ha, 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 ha. But I don't know what to do when I see them with that golden case. They're cashing it in. Authority all in my face. What is a man to do? Good night, everybody.
All right, Michael J. Putty, we are live here at the night 1 of Outlaw Wrestling's Championship Tournament. We're in the middle of the match between Rich Swann and Jaden Vallow. Man, what a night so far.
Very impressive night. Rich Swann has been in the ring with Kenny Omega and the Moose in the past 12 months. This guy had no chance. He's proven me wrong. He has proven me wrong.
Oh, so close. Now, this is your first night here at Outlaw Wrestling. I would say you had to be impressed. The first match was a pre-show match which started off as a stretcher match.
Yes.
This first match of the night called Matt Striker didn't show up, but you had a nice surprise of just incredible here tonight, going one-on-one against the Big Action.
One ECW legend called another ECW legend, and we got a great surprise.
And it makes complete sense now. The crowd here at Queens Brewery is going crazy because this match is what they're saying. It is awesome.
Again, you wouldn't think it would be. You figured Rich Swann had this in the bag, but this guy.
Brother, early on, when you saw the entrance of Rich Swann versus Jaden Vallow, you immediately put all your money in on Rich Swann.
Springboard cutter.
That's it. Could it be over? Oh. Referee here, Giuseppe, calling the action. Now, this must be a privilege for Giuseppe. Calling the match right down the middle for Rich Swann, a former world champion in Impact Wrestling.
Again, that springboard cutter put a lot
of
men away. There we go.
Oh.
Rich Swann. Moving on.
You don't get up after that.
No. Nobody else has.
The crowd is on their feet.
Oh, yes, we are. What a match, though.
What a match.
What a match. Talk about making a name for yourself. Jaden made a name for himself here tonight. A lot of impressive.
He earned the respect of a lot of the people here who counted him out. He went toe-to-toe with Rich Swann. For the beginning of the bout, it was all Jaden Vallow.
Yeah, surprising. Very surprised. I think a lot of people here are surprised by the effort put in by Jaden Vallow.
Jaden is someone that you will see in the upcoming years and many other matches down the line. This is not the last you have seen from these kids. He is outlaw through and through. These two guys earn the respect of each other as they get up to shake each other's hand in the middle of this ring. Wow.
Great sign of sportsmanship.
Yeah. Amazing.
Jaden Vallow has won the crowd over here tonight.
But like Patrick from the Bully said, Rich Swann is advancing on this tournament. Is he one of your favorites in the Outlaw Championship tournament?
How can he not be? Again, former world champion. Been in the ring with Kenny Omega and Moose within months. Rich Swann, top 10 PWI. Unlike Mark Swann, I respect the fact. I think he deserves it, and well done, Mark.
Michael J. Putty, the night is still young. You cannot forget names like Mercedes Martinez, who is in the tournament. Names like Homicide, who are in the tournament. Names like Weston Blake, former NXT superstar. And there are many more surprises that I'm sure we're ahead here at Outlaw Wrestling.
Amen!
All right, everybody. The crowd has calmed down a little bit because Enzo Amore just crashed the party at Outlaw Wrestling. Now, normally I'll be joined here with Michael J. Putty, but I got Steve from the Bullies.
Hey, what's up, Bald Steve here from the Boulevard Bullies. How's it going? Oh, my God.
Could you believe, out of all people, that Enzo Amore just crashed the party?
I couldn't believe it. You know, it's like, I wonder how much he got paid for just a promo. He didn't do a match. That's probably 5 times as much. 5 times as much. But that was crazy. How you doing?
You can't teach that. You can't teach that.
Now let's catch everybody up because holy shit, we are live at Outlaw Wrestling. Woo! This night has been full of surprises. It started off with a surprise from Just Incredible versus the Big Action. Prince Nana came out to crown Mike Verna as the new crown prince here at
King
Outlaw.
of Queens, as Enzo More said, the King of Queens. When he finally realized it was Queens.
Key thing here, the name of the venue is Queens Brewery. Queens Brewery.
We understand that we're on the border of Ridgewood and Bushwick, but still know your crowd. Understand you're in Queens. What worked on the Barclays won't work here. That had to be one of the cringiest promos I've ever seen. That promo was more shocking than the fact of him being here.
And that's what's beautiful about wrestling. Was it a work? Did he fuck up? Did he roll with it? It doesn't matter.
The lines are blurred.
Lines are always blurred.
Maybe it's crack. Maybe it's Maybelline. Who knows?
We're here with the fans of Outlaw Wrestling, and what we're talking about is this promo that Enzo just cashed in on the Outlaw audience because
it was nice.
He thought he was in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I honestly think, the show was originally supposed to originate from Brooklyn, Mount Carmel, Williamsburg, Brooklyn.
Yeah, exactly. So he was probably on the ticket like in secret when it was still Brooklyn. So he got his borders mixed up a little bit, but that's okay. But the match previous to it was a great entrance too because it's kind of like a match cut in half, not even a match cut in a fifth.
Woo! And moving on in the tournament tonight. Go ahead, Pat. Encore Moore advances in the Outlaw Championship tournament. This is someone to keep an eye on.
Yeah, definitely.
This guy's great.
I know. I got my eyes on his abs. Nice abs.
Good abs.
Woo! And the bear is carrying out Man Bun Mania across the threshold. I love it.
What a night here at Outlaw. But the fans were talking earlier about this promo that Enzo Amore cut. He didn't know he was in Brooklyn. He's in Queens at the Queens Brewery.
Yeah.
What a surprise.
Definitely.
Bald Steve, were you surprised?
Oh, my God, yes. But I wanted to set the stage. You know what had just happened before his appearance was Mike Verna versus Casanova Valentine, the Brooklyn, the heartthrob. And they set it up like it was going to be a match. It was going to be awesome. Mike Verna did I don't know the name of the move. Knocked him over basically
a big superplex, showing his strength.
Exactly. Mike Verna did the superplex over his shoulder. Casanova hits the mat from 6 feet in the air, and Mike Verna gets the 1, 2, 3. It was a huge within a minute and a half, right?
Many would say it was a squash match.
Absolutely.
Casanova Valentine, probably a fan favorite to win this tournament.
Absolutely. That's what made Enzo Amore's appearance so good because everyone was upset at that. And Mike Verna was gloating. He puts the robe on, and then that's during that whole hullabaloo is when Enzo comes out to drop his promo. That's what made it so good, really.
Unbelievable. You never know what's going to happen at Outlaw Wrestling. We're halfway through the night. There was supposed to be an intermission. It didn't happen.
Unbelievable.
The crowd is hot.
Unbelievable, really.
We still have Mercedes Martinez coming out tonight.
Indeed.
We still have Homicide's match tonight. Two big fan favorites to move on the championship tournament. Steve, thank you so much for joining us.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Shot of Wrestling, sending it back to the studio.
Boulevard Bullies.
Holy shit. What did you think of your first Outlaw show?
Pretty good. Very, very entertaining, and the crowd is just packed in this place. Die-hard fans here at Outlaw Wrestling. Who would have thunk?
The Queens Brewery, literally, little by little, got completely packed, standing room only. Outlaw Wrestling, this is what they do, providing great independent wrestling for the community of Queens, New York, Brooklyn, New York, the whole tri-state area. What was the match of the night?
That's a good question. All of them were really fucking good.
What do you think about that, Michael J.
Who
Putty?
did Jaden Vaughn go against?
Jaden Vallow went against Rich Swann.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
What a competition. He definitely impressed you.
Absolutely. Who's this fucking punk?
And let me say, we will have Jaden Vallow in a future segment of A Shot of Wrestling in our interviews coming soon. So stay tuned. A Shot of Wrestling on all forms of social media. We've seen a lot of friends, made a lot of new friends. We saw our friends from Turnbuckle Tabloid. Jay was here.
That's right.
I gotta say, what a way to finish the night. Homicide going over Weston Blake. Did you think that was going to happen?
Yeah, I thought so. Wasn't really surprised. Homicide's a hometown guy. But, it's true what they say. Wrestling brings people together. And look at this crowd here tonight. A very eclectic group here.
As they're tearing down the ring, we can't finish off the night without rehashing the fact that Enzo Amore crashed the party here at Outlaw.
Yeah, but no one told him he wasn't in Queens and not in Brooklyn. No one told him about the venue shift. So it didn't go over too well here.
Michael J. Putty, though, a squash match between Mike Verna, and he squashed Casanova Valentine, and then to have that surprise of Enzo Amore. I mean, the fans were electric. Let's speak to someone right here. Richard.
I know. I came in here tonight hailing myself from Williamsburg in Brooklyn. Big-time Casanova Valentine fan. Love the guy. But there is no denying that his match versus Mike Verna tonight was match of the night, because as many phenomenal matches as there were tonight, not taking any credit away from anybody who was here tonight, because every match was phenomenal. But nobody made a statement like Mike Verna tonight. And it's, as a Casanova Valentine fan, I'm telling you right now, there's no way you can argue against it. That man showed up, he made a statement, and he frankly may have just made himself number one contender in this tournament to win that title.
Well said.
We have a longtime indie wrestling fan right here.
Oh yes,
Mike.
sir.
You know
Mittens.
him as Mittens.
Yes, sir.
Match of the night.
Match of the night. Oh man, I think that main event tore the house down. Weston Blake and Homicide. Pretty much a clinic the whole entire match. Started off slow, but then the pace picked up there at the end. But, like the whole vibe in here, Outlaw's always doing it big. After a 1.5-year hiatus, they're finally back running shows in New York City. And like Pat said in the beginning of the show, that they didn't go running to New Jersey. Even though, in my personal opinion, New Jersey's a little better because they have no commissioner. You can do any type of fuckery, but they stood true to their word and never went to Jersey and stayed solely New York.
The big news of the night is that there were many surprises here at Outlaw. Just incredible surprised us at the beginning of the night. But the biggest surprise, Enzo Amore. What did you think about that?
Enzo? I mean, Enzo is Enzo. He's controversial and everything, but you know what? The one thing I got to say about Enzo, man, he gets a pop no matter what. He's a name. He's a goddamn name out there. Like, I know so many. Even I could be a little harsh on Enzo, but at the end of the day, his charisma is undeniable, and that's why he gets bookings on these shows, and that's why he was put out there. Oh, another thing too? There was another surprise on there too. Prince Nana with Mike Verna.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
The heel turn of a century. Pretty boy, Man of Steel, Mike Verna, turning on the crowd.
I loved every second of it. I'm an old school fan, so I appreciate the fuck out of Prince Nana.
Craziness happening at Outlaw Wrestling. This is the first night of their championship tournament. If you had a favorite, who's going to take it all the way? Who would you pick?
Oh man, too many good ones.
He's thinking really hard. I'm going to give him some time. Michael J. Putty, the question's going to come on to you next.
Bro, honest truth, bro. The New York scene for a long time. There's one king of New York. There's one king of New York. He was just in the main event we just talked about. I think the fucking king of New York, Homicide, is going to take that shit.
Mikey Mittens here, calling it as it is. The king of New York, Homicide, going all the way. Michael J. Putty, who's your pick to take it all?
Man of Steel, Mike Verna.
Oh!
Mike Verna's my second pick, actually.
Can we see them in the finals?
I know the bracket.
Mike Verna versus Homicide.
I'm with Putty right here. I would love Mike Verna and Homicide in the finals. That would be the ultimate finals for the first ever Outlaw champion.
Well, we got many more nights here to come. November 18th, we return to Queens Brewery.
That's the second round, right?
Well, November 4th, we're going to be in Bayshore for night 2. November 3rd, we're going to be crowning a champion here in Queens, New York. Michael J. Putty, your first Outlaw wrestling show. What you think about it, buddy?
Very good. Very good. Very entertaining.
All right, Mark Schwann, we're going to send it back to you in the studio.